If you run Facebook ads to your website and you use a third-party platform to manage call bookings like Calendly, Tidycal, Cal.com, then you're probably struggling with attributing those bookings to particular ads, as well as seeing low event match quality scores in Events Manager. If so, then this video is for you. My name's Emmett, I run PixelFlow, and this exact problem is one of the most common ones I fix on setup calls. Once you see what's going on, it's very obvious how to fix. The common setup for people in lead gen industries where customers book demo calls like coaches, agencies, consultants, or SaaS, you run ads to your website, and when someone gets there, they need to click on a Book Now button, which then sends them off to a third-party scheduling tool to actually pick a time, like Calendly, Acuity, or Cal.com. They pick a slot, they book, and they're done. It's a really common flow, but the problem is that when the user gets redirected to the third-party website, tracking gets broken because one thing called the Facebook Click ID gets left behind. So let's take a step back for a minute and I'll explain how Facebook ad tracking normally works at a high level. When someone clicks on your ad, Facebook sticks a little tag on the end of your URL. It's that long, ugly string starting with that FBCL ID that you've probably seen in the address bar. That tag is called the Click ID, and it's Facebook's receipt that says, this exact person clicked this exact ad. It's unique to every single ad click, and it helps Facebook attribute an ad click to a specific person when you send it back with any event that happens on your website. So this part is where the tracking breaks. When the visitor lands on your site, your tracking grabs that Click ID and stores it in a cookie. But the cookie is called a first-party cookie, which just means it belongs to your domain and only your domain, your website. It lives on your website and it can't travel to another website. Other websites can't read it. It's not a bug, it's literally just how browsers are built to work for privacy reasons. So when the person clicks on Book Now on your website and they get redirected to the other website, they get sent off to Calendly or Acuity or whatever, that's a completely different domain. And the second they leave your site, that Click ID stays behind. It doesn't travel with them. Calendly has no idea this person came from a Facebook ad, and why would it? It's just a separate website that just sees someone showing up to book a time. So the booking goes through and you either can't trigger an event to tell Facebook that it happened because it happened somewhere else automatically, or the platform has a third-party integration with Facebook through a pixel and it arrives, but it arrives with no Click ID attached. So no receipt, Facebook looks at it and goes, okay, a booking happened, but I don't know which ad this originally came from. It can't connect it to the campaign that paid for it, and it can't score the match. It could potentially use the user's email address or name or phone number to try and match them to the ad. If it receives the event and it sees that, okay, this person saw this ad, so it's most likely them. But in most situations, if there's no Click ID, it won't be able to attribute it to the right ad. So if your booking tool is on a different domain from your website, the one piece of proof that ties the booking to the ad gets left at the door, doesn't get carried through. So that's the problem. So how do you fix it? There's 3 ways to resolve it, and they're not equal. Some are better, some are worse. The best one to use is something called server-side stitching. So what this does is the third-party booking platform sends a notification to your server that a booking has happened, and it gives you some information like the customer's name and email. So once you have this information, it's now up to you to find some way to stitch that information back to the original customer's browser session on your website, so you can combine all of that into one and send the event off to Facebook then. It sounds complex, and it is, but there's some platforms, like PixelFlow, that offer simple integrations that do exactly this for you. For example, our Calendly integration is built to handle exactly this. It receives the information from Calendly, and it stitches all of the user's information from their original browser session back with the server session, including the Click ID, and sends it off to Facebook, which gets around 9 out of 10 in EMQ scores, which is very high. So server-side stitching is the best solution, but it's not always possible depending on the platform and your setup. The next best solution is to redirect the user back to a thank you page on your website after they book. By doing this, you can trigger an event to Facebook when they load the thank you page, and remember, it'll still have the Facebook Click ID in the cookies on your domain, so they can probably attribute it to the right ad. Now, the downsides to this are that it's slightly less accurate and it has less user information because it's just a page load, but there's 2 useful things that you can do here. The first is to include user parameters in the URL. So what this means is some platforms like Tidycal, for example, and Calendly let you create what's called a dynamic URL, which means that they add unique parameters to the URL every time a different user goes there. This lets you redirect the user back to your website to a URL like /thank you, but it can then include extra parts like their name equals, email equals in the URL. Why this is useful is that you can use a platform like PixelFlow to extract those parameters every time from the URL and send them along with the event to improve event match quality score. The final improvement that you can make with a method like this when triggering an event on page load is that you can also use blocking rules to ensure that the same user refreshing the page won't generate the event again. Let me show you how to set that up in PixelFlow. So if you want to set up a trigger that when a page is loaded, like your thank you page, and a event will be triggered to Facebook, we'd select when a page loads, and then we'll put in our thank you page here. If this is our thank you page, we can generate a lead event or whatever event we want. We could set an event value, and we can also set the duplicate events to stop them being triggered. In Tidycal, for example, you can see that they have an option when you edit one of your booking types to redirect to a custom page after booking. So let's say the page is PixelFlow/thank you. Now we can also add these elements to the redirect too. So let's say we want this one and we want this one. So we would have name equals, and we would have email equals. So let's say this is what's going to be in the URL. Every time, Calendly will replace contact name with the person's name that they got from the booking and email with the customer's email address. So if that's the redirect URL with the parameters, all we do is copy that, put it into the PixelFlow page, and you can see here we've detected extra information in the URL. If we click on next, now it lets us map each of these parts of the URL to specific customer items. So let's say, for example, email, we have email address and we want to map name to full name. If we do that and create the trigger, every time we will, on a page load, we will send the lead event to Facebook. We'll extract and send all of this information, and from the URL, we'll also extract the person's name and email address and send it along with the event. So the third and final option is the weakest of all and really should only be used if there's no other alternatives. So this is just track your Book Now button on your website as a button click. So when someone clicks that button, you fire a conversion event right there before they leave your website. You can do this with PixelFlow's visual tagger, which is just a point and click alternative to Facebook event setup tool, except that it's fully server side. Let me show you how that works. In the PixelFlow dashboard, you can click on track an event, and then when a button or link is clicked, it'll let you open up the point and click. And then we can select track something new, and let's say get started is the book a call button. We could track that as a lead event. If we save trigger, now anytime somebody clicks this button, it's going to generate a lead event. So obviously this tells you how many people from each campaign clicked through to a booking, which is better than nothing. But just to be clear, you don't get their email, you don't get the booking value, you don't even know for sure if they finished the booking at all. So your event match quality score will stay low, your reporting stays fuzzy, and it's more of a patch rather than a fix. So you should only use it if the redirect or server-side stitching is genuinely not possible. So to recap, the click ID lives on your domain and doesn't travel to other websites. If your funnel dumps people onto a scheduling site and leaves them there, the attribution stays behind. If you bring them back to your own site after they book, you can restitch the click ID and Facebook can finally see what your ads are actually doing. And if you want the booking site handled for you without touching code, PixelFlow does the Calendly integration and click ID restitching out of the box for you. Or you can easily set up a redirect and extract the user details from the URLs super easily too. There's a 7-day trial if you want to try it out. Either way, now you know exactly what to look for. See you in the next video.